Is erythritol safe? And should we continue to use it or should we stop using it? I have been inundated with questions about erythritol since that study came out talking about potential risks of erythritol. And I know that Trim Healthy Mama has made a statement about erythritol. They emailed it out. I believe it's on their website, it's on their Facebook page. If you haven't checked it out, I recommend reading it. It's a very well put together response. But when I'm asked if we should quit using erythritol, I can't answer that in a straightforward way. The answer is I don't know. I am not going to tell you to keep using it. And I'm not going to tell you that it's completely safe because I don't know. I don't know if most things we eat are completely safe. I don't know that this study was well done enough to come out with enough information for me to completely cut erythritol out. I don't know that what they've said is compelling enough for me to do that, but I can tell you that I've made a personal decision to cut back on erythritol, not out of fear, but out of conviction. And I'm going to tell you why. When I was reading the study, I feel like there are still some unanswered questions out there. I don't think that the study is something that we should just blindly trust. Absolutely. I know that they were studying something different. I understand that they were studying a specific group of people and what they found may not apply to all of us. I understand all of that. And again, I'm so thankful for Trim Healthy Mama's very well put together and researched response to the erythritol study. Basically, it doesn't seem that Trim Healthy Mama has a lot of concerns about it. And I don't know that I do either. But here's one thing that impacted me. I was thinking about how much erythritol I have consumed over the past 10 plus years on plan, and especially how much I've consumed since these drinks came out that I've been drinking since they came out, so many of them. In the study, it specifically referenced the impact of 30 grams of erythritol a day. I've had 3 of these in a day. I've done that before and I enjoy them. And what I started thinking about was that I have really grasped and held on to Trim Healthy Mama's recommendation of all things in moderation up here. And I've done so well with that in so many things. But when I'm dealing with a client who has stubborn weight loss, a lot of times we do cut back on some things that are okay on plan because we're not using them in moderation. And we need to focus on reducing some of the things that I know are not as beneficial for weight loss. Where I haven't done the greatest job in my own health is cutting back on the things that are just packaged and processed in general. So, not out of a knee jerk reaction to the study, but just out of some careful thinking, I've thought that it probably will not hurt me to cut back on packaged products in general, and especially drinks that rely mostly on erythritol, almost regardless of what the study says. I have thought that, there are some unanswered questions with that study. I am not fully confident in most packaged products because I feel like the science is always changing of this chemical ingredient is okay for you and this one is, and no, now they're not. It is really confusing, I think. But I do know that when I bake and make my own things at home with THM sweeteners and things like that, I tend to not overdo those things as much as I will overdo packaged personal choice items and beverages and things that I buy at the store. So I am cutting back on quite a few packaged and processed things, not necessarily out of this study concerning me so much. I have to tell you, I'm not going to tell any of my clients to quit or start using any product. It is your responsibility, just like it's mine, to research and do what you're comfortable with and talk to your doctor if you need to and seek out wisdom and find what you're comfortable with just in your day-to-day meals. But for me, I know that I heavily rely on a lot of things that are store-bought. And that's not necessarily the healthiest way to THM. It's a habit I got into in survival mode that I maybe didn't do as well with coming off of. So I can be like, oh, I've stayed on plan for this many years, fully on plan. It's been awesome. And that's great. But I also know that there are healthier things to do on plan. There's a healthier way to follow THM. And in boot camp, we'll cover we have like a survival mode week. If you are in survival mode and this is what you have to do, this is what you have to do. But I do know there are treats like these drinks that I've had for so many years that have some chemical kinds of things in them that's not really a survival mode thing. That's just I enjoy them. I would probably be better off drinking more water. I'll just say it. But my point is, I think that if you are eating all things in moderation, if I refocus, which I have been on eating all things in moderation, there are healthier ways to THM. And even in my group, we have that week on survival mode, and then we've got a week on stubborn weight where I say, okay, this is how you maximize the plan. This is how you really focus on the things that can help the most with weight loss. And some of that involves bringing in some wisdom and moderation to what we eat, which is something that THM has taught since the beginning. So for me, there was just a level of conviction of, well, maybe I could do with fewer packaged things just because reports come out on different things all the time. And I don't want to have a fear-based reaction to those, but I want to have a wise reaction to them. And that means I want to take the information. If I have enough questions that I'm just like, well, it wouldn't hurt to cut back a little, which I'm not sure. I think more information is going to come out about erythritol, and it will either be proven that it's completely safe or there will still be questions. I don't know. But it doesn't hurt to cut back on any packaged foods that have long lists of ingredients and things that I can't pronounce well. So that's more my focus, and my takeaway from this study is that, just as a human and watching out for what my kids eat too, it's important to make sure that we're having everything in moderation, not overdoing any single ingredient. And it's almost like there's so many healthy foods that we could eat and enjoy and get so many benefits out of. But if that's all we eat, yeah, we need more balance. We're going to need to refocus on taking a wise and balanced approach to what we eat. If you only ate butter, for example, at every meal, and I'm not trying to villainize butter, I love butter, and it's fully on plan. But let's say I only ate butter forever. Well, that's not wise, and that's not balanced, and that wouldn't be good for me. So I'm kind of taking that approach to looking at all the things I eat and making sure that I'm not overdoing any packaged food or processed food at all, which is honestly how I get a lot of my erythritol, is through packaged and processed foods, and just having a little more wisdom and balance in what I eat. So that was my main takeaway. But again, I'm going to say, I think everybody needs to do their own research, eat what they're comfortable with. I have a few clients who've said that they are really not wanting to have erythritol, and many that have said, I see studies like this all the time and they try to scare us away from healthy things. I think it's important too that, you look at studies like this and you think, well, how does it compare to having sugar instead? I don't know that because that information wasn't provided. So while you're doing your research, I think those are things to think through. But I also think that if you are maybe finding that you're consuming massive quantities of any product, it's good to just reevaluate and think through it a little bit more. And that's my unsolicited 2 cents on it. I really have enjoyed so much freedom and increased health and unlimited benefits from following the Trim Healthy Mama lifestyle, enjoying having sweet treats without sugar in them. I'm still all in on THM. It's made such a drastic difference for me. So with that though, I know I have a sound mind to think, and if I ever became uncomfortable with any of their products or anything, I would definitely be willing to evaluate that. I'm not there yet. I'm not there at all. I feel like Trim Healthy Mama researches carefully, and I'm going to keep watching what they say. But for myself, I know that it doesn't hurt to be more wise and moderate with what I'm eating. So that's my takeaway from it. I know that a lot of people have very different opinions, and erythritol has become a really big hot button issue. And that's why I think the main thing is that we all have to research and study for ourselves. I'm not going to tell anyone to use it. I'm not going to tell them not to use it, because I think that if even if you read the studies that are out there, there are so many saying that erythritol is safe. There's this one that's concerning, and I think we can kind of drive ourselves crazy. And I don't think any one of us should listen to someone on YouTube or on social media just saying, well, do this instead or do this. It's just something that we need to do our own research on. So I have decided even before the study to cut back a bit on processed foods and packaged items. And that's definitely something that I think will feed into making sure that I have a healthier lifestyle overall. But that's all that's come from it for me. And I think that if you do your own research and feel comfortable with what you're eating, that's the important thing, is to make a choice that you're really comfortable with when it comes to any food ingredient. So I know that may not be very helpful, but that's kind of where I'm at. And just with these studies, I'm sure more information will be coming out and we can further evaluate and decide more then. But I just encourage you to do your own research and hopefully still continue to, whatever you decide, just really enjoy what you eat. And I think that, Trim Healthy Mama is a great way to do that. Even if you went to stevia only or monk fruit only or whatever you needed to do, I think you could still find a lot of enjoyment in your food. So I hope you're all having a great week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.